They did that in Topaz too. They farmed the land.
And then now we're going to backtrack just a little bit. What was yours or your family's response to the bombing of Pearl Harbor? And then following that, did they have any idea that the camps were happening in the very beginning?
The answer in my case is I don't know anything about what their reaction was and what happened. Well, we know what happened after Pearl Harbor, but it's just nothing I can remember.
Okay, so this may be new to George, my cousin, but Uncle Sam had a daughter in Hiroshima. And she was in the Hiroshima blast. And Uncle Sam and Auntie Yuki actually ran to find her because I think she had a job in town. And they did find her. She was still barely alive. I guess they took her back to their home and she did die. But we do have actually she would be a first cousin. We have a first cousin who died in Hiroshima.
The day that happened, my dad came home and said, turn on the radio, turn on the radio. And so that's when we heard about the bombing of the kamikazes. And I mean, we were shocked. We didn't think Japanese would do such a thing, but they did.
You know, they talk about us having such a short time to get ready to go into the camps. And that was really a caution because you didn't have even time to get your bank account frozen and get your visa in place and things like that. And I said to my father, who was an aspiring lawyer, even he was really rushing at the very end, he said. And I said, why did you wait? And he said, you know, I never thought it would actually happen in America. You heard rumors of that. There was a lot of propaganda, a lot of angst. But he said, you know, in my heart, I just did not think they would actually come and make us go into camps. And so people just procrastinated and you just went on about your business because he said, never dreamed it would happen.
Yeah, my grandparents didn't talk much about the immediate after events of Pearl Harbor. You know, I think they, like many other Japanese Americans at the time, were afraid of what that meant for their future in the United States, what that could mean, how in many areas anti-Japanese sentiment was building up in the lead up to the war, and so there was sort of a looming menace around what a conflict, an international conflict could mean for Japanese Americans when they were already experiencing prejudice. They also, I think, were surprised by the camps. They didn't expect that to happen here, and yet, of course, it did. Many of the people that I've spoken to, I've done a lot of oral histories with people who went to Gila River and to other camps, talked about their first reaction was fear, going into camps, and fear of what their perceptions of them might be. And so some people who were Buddhist or who did martial arts buried or burned their materials, like their sort of, one person I spoke to in Santa Barbara, he also went to Tulare. His family did kendo, which is a traditional Japanese fencing, and he remembers after Pearl Harbor, his father took him into their backyard and they burned all of their kendo gear because he was afraid of what the neighbors might think of them. And so they took all of their documents that were in Japanese and they also burned these. And I think this is something that a lot of people did because of just intense fear after the events of Pearl Harbor of what that might mean for their future.